Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you trust your senses? What does the experience of your senses tell you? Something about the outer world. What is real? What is true? Okay, now let's think about this from another point of view. What if your senses gave you information which led you to understand the world in a certain way? And let's say that was in direct disagreement with experts, scientists. You know, the proper people in lab coats who spend all their time doing experiments and studying in universities, reading through plenty of peer-reviewed papers. What then? Okay, let's think about this in another way. What if those experts happen to be your doctor? And what if the expert in question, the doctor in question, was consulting with another doctor who happened to be involved in a department which is supposed to understand these things properly? And let's say the experience of your senses disagreed with them. Then what? Would you believe your senses? Or would you believe the outer world, the way it's understood by the scientists and the doctors? Think about it. Do take into account that I don't want you to trust me or see me as being your sole source of information. I'm proposing something different, something that you might find a little frightening, well, at least initially. I'm suggesting you do an experiment. An experiment which might take a few weeks or a few months, and possibly might take a few years as you try and explore this particular part of the natural world. After all, what is an experiment apart from an attempt to explore the natural world and to use your reason and your senses to ascertain what is really happening? I want you to be able to trust your senses. I want you to be critical and to be analytical about what you're going through when you're going through this experiment. Think about what you are seeing, what you are sensing, what your sense of touch is telling you, and what you're feeling inside your body, whether it is sickness or something else. I want you to take notes, careful notes, detailed notes, and to think very carefully of absolutely everything which is going into your body, and of course everything that's coming out of your body. Essentially, I'll be recommending that you get your hands on a certain number of supplements. These you can buy from Amazon, eBay, and of course certain health-orientated websites, including those which deal with herbal preparations. Make sure that you're comfortable with doing this. Make sure you've done your own research into the supplements. Make sure that you don't have any allergies to the ingredients. And of course, if you want to get some extra medical advice prior to trying this experiment, I would recommend it. But taking the supplements is one thing, and another thing is to accept what the doctors say about the results of the experiments if you choose to go ahead with it. Remember, this is an experiment. It's about trying to find out what is real in the world. And the only real reason to experiment is because you don't actually know. And if you don't actually know, you've got to try and get the knowledge somehow. Now, you might think that I'm setting myself up here like some kind of massive expert who knows absolutely everything. At this present point in time in my life, that can't be further from the truth. I'm telling you about this particular experiment because it's what I have done. And I have experienced things as a result of it, and therefore I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell people so that you could then make some decisions as to how you think certain aspects of the natural world seem to operate. Now, this is to do with the subjects of health, and I know that's the case, but I would like to reassure you that at this stage in my life I am not a complete and utter health god, and I do periodically indulge in things that I shouldn't, knowing full well that it is wrong, but I'm not perfect. In fact, I'm far from it. I'm merely trying to improve my own health, taking into account the information that I've got. Yes, I'm using language which suggests that I'm making recommendations about these particular supplements and this particular experiment, but that is only my own point of view. And I must re-emphasize that. It is up to you whether you try these things or not, and I strongly advise you do your own research prior to even thinking about this. Remember, I could be wrong too, but on with the recommendations. So what's the first part of the experiment? Well, it is something called tinctures. These are alcoholic or indeed non-alcoholic extracts of plants. The plants in question you have to look out for are wormwood, cloves, and black walnut hull, all together in one particular mixture. Okay, it's best to have it all in one particular mixture. There are some protocols out there which say you can take these things separately, but I've done it in this particular way and it seemed to work. You get yourself about 3 bottles of this stuff. You can find it on all manner of herbalist websites. You can even find it in possibly some health food shops. I get mine online, so have a look out for some. With the first bottle, you slowly increase your dosage from just a couple of drops until you're up to the recommended dosage as explained on the bottle itself. And then do 2 weeks worth of that. And during that time, pay close attention to what happens in your body. But complete the course and just see. Also look closely at what comes out of your body. That's the first part of the experiment. Take notes. You can take them mentally, you can take them written, but if you take them written, I suppose it's more likely you'll be able to think about what you've gone through. Okay, that's the first part. Then after that, take a bit of a break, get yourself back to normality for a while, and then you can do the second experiment. Now, this could take you between 3 and 6 months. You're going to buy a supplement called MSM. Now, I hadn't heard about this until a few years ago, okay? But when I did hear about it, I tried it, and the experience was interesting. You start off on a dose of just 1 gram a day. You do that for a week. The next week, you go up to 2 grams a day, okay? You spread out the dose between morning and evening. Then you go on to 3 grams a day for a week. That's 1 in the morning, 1 at lunchtime, 1 at the evening. Okay, and you carry on doing that, increasing it by 1 gram a day until you have, over the 3-month period, or 6 months if you want to take it even slower, got yourself up to 12 grams a day. And then hover at that level for a while and see what happens. That's the second part of your experiment. Just see what happens. Write notes. Look closely at what appears in your toilet water, both with the tinctures and with the MSM. I'm not telling you have to do them both together because I don't know. And I personally wanted to be careful when I did this for myself, so I didn't want to overload the body with too many chemicals. Okay? When I'd stopped doing the MSM experience, I then included Diatomaceous Earth. This stuff you have to buy, and this is one thing I've really learned. You have to buy the stuff which is intended for human consumption. Everyone out there on the internet says get food grade Diatomaceous Earth. Yeah, sure, it's got to be food grade, but it's also got to be food grade for human consumption, because there's food grade stuff out there which is for killing insects, and that may have other traces of stuff in it which can make you ill. With Diatomaceous Earth, you be incredibly careful. This stuff gets airborne. What you do is you take a spoonful of it and you put that into a glass of water. The moment it hits the water, some of it will get airborne. You don't want to breathe any of that shit in. Seriously. You don't want any of that to get anywhere near your eyeballs. Seriously. Because if it does, it can scar the eyeballs. It can do all kinds of things. I've experienced that. It's bad. You can buy Diatomaceous Earth food grade in capsule format, which is of course safer to take because you're not going to get any airborne. But it's very expensive for the quantities we're talking about. Alright, so if you want to build up to 3 tablespoons a day, starting at, let's say, 1/4 teaspoon, then 1/2 teaspoon, and slowly increasing your dosage bit by bit, you'll then end up, if you're taking it in capsule format, spending lots and lots and lots of money every single day for your course of diatomaceous earth. But if it's in powdered format, it is literally cheap as dirt. So this is what you can do. This is the sequence which I did things. Okay, so why have you done this one particular experiment? You're probably thinking to yourself, normally, when I'm hungry, I then go and eat. When I'm thirsty, I then go and drink a glass of water. So why would I do this particular experiment when there isn't an actual need? Well, my point of view here is that there may be a need, but you just don't know it yet. If you're very lucky, and you've been very good all your life, nothing might happen. And that would be a good thing, and that in its own right will be instructive. However, if something does happen, it will be proof positive to you that there's things about human health that your doctors haven't told you about. Why haven't they told you? Because they themselves don't actually know. They haven't been educated in it. They don't have that specific variety of knowledge. But you will, as a result of having done this experiment on yourself, having gained the evidence of your senses, will be in a position of knowledge about this subject which your doctor doesn't know about. Indeed, the medical profession may indeed deny it, and indeed even some of your natural health and holistic doctors may not fully understand it either. So I certainly can't turn around to you and tell you that I'm the expert, but that this experiment will teach you some things.